Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Part Question 1. The cell as the basic unit of life consists of A. Cell wall and vacuole, B. Nucleus and cell wall, C. Cytoplasm and nucleus, D. Cytoplasm and vacuole. So as it's been rightly established here, the cell is the basic unit of life. So for a standard definition of the cell, we could say the cell is the simplest unit of living organisms that can exist independently. Now, option A, which says cell wall and vacuole. The cell wall and vacuole is mainly seen in plant cells, and the cell wall basically surrounds the membrane and provides structural integrity for the cell, while the vacuole contains many substances such as excretory substances and enzymes. Now, the nucleus is the major cell organelle of the cell. It coordinates all the activities of the cell. And then lastly, the last option here, or the last item that we've not talked of, is the cytoplasm. And the cytoplasm is basically all the content of the cell aside the nucleus. So from what we've seen, the nucleus is the major organelle of the cell, and then the cytoplasm is every other content within the cell aside the nucleus. So majorly, you can say the cell consists of two parts: the nucleus, which is the major and central organelle, and then the cytoplasm, which consists of other organelles and every other content within the cell apart from the nucleus. So the cytoplasm and the nucleus, which is option C, is the basic way you can classify the content of the cell, or what the cell consists of. Every other thing is either around the cell or within the cell. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 2. So we have a list of classes of the phylum Arthropoda, and we're to use to answer questions 2 and 3. So this is question 2. So the classes you have are Crustacea, Insecta, Arachnida, and Chilopoda. So the question is, which members of the classes live mainly in an aquatic habitat? A. 1, B. 2, C. 3, D. 4. So the phylum Arthropoda is the largest in the kingdom Animalia. Now it has 4 classes which you have listed here. So the class Crustacea are basically aquatic organisms, and examples include the crab, prawn, lobster, etc. Now the class Insecta is the second here, and it is made up of insects, for example cockroach, ant, housefly, etc. And then 3, Arachnida is made up of the scorpions, okay, the scorpions, the spiders, etc. And then the Chilopoda is made up of the centipede, the centipedes. So those are the examples you have. Now from the descriptions we give, the crustaceans are the aquatic organisms such as the crabs, prawns and the lobsters. So they live mainly in an aquatic habitat. So option A, which is number 1, class Crustacea, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. And 20 biology objective past question 3. Use the following classes of arthropoda to answer questions 2 and 3. So we have classes under the phylum Arthropoda that we are to use to answer 2 and 3, and this is question 3. So we have Crustacea, Insecta, Arachnida and Chilopoda. Which of the classes is characterized by the possession of 2 pairs of antennae? A 1, B 2, C 3, D 4. So as regarding possession of antenna, the class Crustacea are the only class under the phylum Arthropoda that possess 2 pairs of antenna. That is, they possess 4 antenna. Insecta possess just 1 pair, okay, and then the others, Chilopoda, also a pair. So the crustaceans are the only class under the class Arthropoda, under the phylum Arthropoda, that possess 2 pairs of antenna. So option A, which is 1, class Crustacea, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 biology objective past question 4. The organism with spiral chloroplasts and nucleus suspended by cytoplasmic strands is A. Volvox, B. Spirogyra, C. Paramecium, D. Euglena. So you have 4 organisms here, and this given to us here is its physical description. So let's look at the descriptions of each of these organisms and the ones that fit into this description, specifically spiral chloroplast and nucleus suspended by cytoplasmic strands. So Volvox, the Volvox is a free floating freshwater green algae which appears in colonies as green rolling balls on the surface of water. Option B, the Spirogyra, is a filamentous green algae named for its helical or spiral arrangement of chloroplasts. Option C, which is the Paramecium, is a unicellular shaped organism. And then the euglena is a unicellular eukaryote possessing a flagellum and exhibits both plant and animal characteristics. So from these descriptions we have given, the Spirogyra, we said it's named because of its spiral arrangement of chloroplasts, and one key feature described in the question is the spiral chloroplasts. Now it's also important to add that the Spirogyra also has its nucleus suspended by strands of cytoplasm, so cytoplasmic strands. So from this, after comparing the definitions, you would agree that option B, Spirogyra, is the organism with spiral chloroplasts and nucleus suspended by cytoplasmic strands. Spirogyra is option B and the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 5. The network of double membrane that conveys materials through the cytoplasm is the A. Plasma membrane, B. Nuclear membrane, C. Mitochondrion, D. Endoplasmic reticulum. So we're asked for what a network of double membrane that conveys or transports material within the cytoplasm is called. So let's look at each of the options and see what they mean and what they stand for and what the function is. So the plasma membrane is also known as the cell membrane, and it is the membrane in all cells that separates the interior of the cell from the outside, and it is selectively permeable. That means it regulates the materials in and out of the cell. Now option B, which is the nuclear membrane, is a bilayer membrane. Now it's a two-layer membrane that surrounds the nucleus in eukaryotic cells. Option C, the mitochondrion, is a membrane bound organelle that is bound by the plasma membrane, a membrane bound organelle that generates energy required for the cell's biochemical reactions. And then option D, the endoplasmic reticulum, is a network of, or you can say a continuous membrane system that forms a series of flattened sacs within the cytoplasm of eukaryotic cells. Now its main function is transport of proteins as well as synthesis. It also assists in the synthesis, packaging, but mainly for the transport of proteins and other materials within the cytoplasm of eukaryotic cells. Now the question asked for the network or a system of double membrane that conveys or transports. Another word you can use for convey is transport materials within or through the cytoplasm. And as we have seen here, option D, which is the endoplasmic reticulum, is a network or continuous membrane system that forms a series of flattened sac within the cytoplasm and functions to transport materials, specifically proteins, within the cytoplasm. So that is the closest definition, or more or less the same definition as you have in the question. So the correct answer is option D, the endoplasmic reticulum. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 6. You have a diagram below, which is a longitudinal illustration of a longitudinal section of a plant organ. And the plant organ you have here is an onion bulb. So you have 4 labeled parts, and then you are asked food is stored in the part labeled A1, 2, B2, C3, D4. Now you have the following parts. The one labeled 1 is the tunic or membranous leaf. The part labeled 2 is the leaf scale. That is the fleshy leaf scale. The part labeled 3 is the stem, and the part labeled 4 is the adventitious roots. And we're asked where food is stored. Now, food in an onion bulb is stored in the fleshy leaf scale. And the fleshy leaf scale, as we have established here, is the part labeled 2. That is this. So option B, 2, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 7. So you have this diagram, which is the illustration of a longitudinal section of a plant organ, which is an onion bulb. So we're asked the plant is A, stem tuber, B, bulb, C, stolon, D, runner. So let's define each of these plant types given to us in the options and see the one that best suits the description. Now, a stem tuber, which is option A, refers to enlarged structures in some plant species used as storage for nutrients. And examples you have, an example is yam. Now option B, which is bulb, is a short stem, a plant with short stem with fleshy leaves or leaf bases that function as food storage organs. Now option C, which is the stolon, is a creeping horizontal plant stem that takes roots at points along its length to form new plants. And option D, which is runner, is a stem-like growth extending from a mother plant's growing point. So from this description we have given option B, which is bulb, a short stem with fleshy leaves or leaf bases that function as food storage organ, is what can be best used to describe the onion, as you have even onion bulb amongst this name. Now the onion bulb consists of fleshy leaf bases or fleshy leaves, which you can see labeled here as option 2. So these structures here are the leaf bases or the fleshy leaves, and their function is to serve as food storage organs. So as we have established here, this plant, which is the onion, is a bulb. The bulb is option B. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 8. You have the diagram below, which is an illustration of the longitudinal section of a plant organ, and this plant organ is an onion bulb. So we're asked, the part labeled 1 is the A. Apical bud, B. Scale leaf, C. Adventitious root, D. Fleshy leaf. So to be a good idea for us to label each of the parts given to us and see what each part represents. Now, the part labeled 1 is known as the tunic leaf. Now that area is also called the apical bud or the apex of the onion bulb. Now the part labeled 2 is known as the fleshy scale leaf. So you can either refer to it as the fleshy leaf or the scale leaf. Now the part labeled 3 is known as the stem, and the part labeled 4 is the adventitious root. So as we have seen here, the part labeled 1 is the tunic leaf, also called the apex or the apical bud, and the apical bud is option A. So option A is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 9. Which of the following materials is not a living permeable membrane? A. Pig's bladder, B. Unripe pawpaw fruit, C. Yam tuber, D. Sheet of cellophane. So all the materials you have listed here are permeable membranes, or what you call selectively permeable membranes. And what selectively permeable membranes do is that they allow only certain molecules to pass through the membrane. So they select the membranes. So selectively, the membranes select what passes through them. So they are called selectively permeable membrane. Now we are asked for which one is not a living permeable membrane. So all we just have to do is to pick out which one is not a living thing. So A, pig's bladder, is a living, or it's made up of living cells, so it's not the answer. It's a living permeable membrane. B, unripe pawpaw fruit. Pawpaw fruit, of course, is living, so it's made up of living cells, so it is not the answer. Yam tuber, of course, is also living, so it's not the answer. However, sheet of cellophane. Now cellophane is a sheet of regenerated cellulose, and its production makes use of carbon disulfide. So carbon disulfide is what is used to make a sheet of cellophane, and it is not a living permeable membrane. So option D, sheet of cellophane, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. And welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 11. Which of the following tissues does not provide support in flowering plants? A. Collenchyma, B. Parenchyma, C. Xylem, D. Phloem. So there are certain tissues that provide support in flowering plants or in plants in general. Those are known as supporting tissues. Now in plants, the supporting tissues are the parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, and the xylem. So these are the tissues, 4 tissues that serve as support in plants, similar to the skeleton in animals. So it's similar purpose to the skeleton in animals. Now option A, which is collenchyma, as we have rightly established, provides support. B as well, C as well. However, option D, which is the phloem, is a vascular tissue. It's known as a vascular tissue, and the purpose of it is conduction of manufactured food from leaves to the roots of plants for assimilation and storage. So it is a conductive tissue or a vascular tissue. So as we have rightly established, option D, phloem, is not a supporting tissue. Thank you, and please ensure you subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 12. So you have a setup, an experimental setup, and you're asked, the setup directly measures A. Transpiration of water by the shoots, B. Evaporation of water from the leaves, C. Absorption of water by the shoots, D. Loss of mineral salts from the leaves. So this experimental setup you have here is for measuring transpiration pool, or what is known as force of transpiration, or force exerted by transpiration. Now transpiration is the loss of water from the surface of leaves by evaporation. So this setup is used to demonstrate the force exerted by transpiration, and as is shown here, you have a reservoir containing water or some other liquid. You could also have mercury contained in the reservoir. So in this setup, what you have is that as water evaporates from the leaves, water or whatever liquid is in the reservoir will be taken up the capillary tube, and as it's taken up the capillary tube, you'll be able to measure the force or the pull that transpiration carries out. So as we have rightly established, transpiration of water by the shoots, which is option A, is what this setup is designed to measure. Please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Thank you. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 13. The setup can measure comparatively the rate of A. Evaporation from leaves on a single shoot under different experimental conditions, B. Salt uptake by shoots from different plants, C. Transpiration of a single shoot of a plant under different experimental conditions, the water uptake by roots of different plants. So the setup here in question is the setup seen in question 12. So for the setup, refer to question 12 and you see an accurate diagram of the setup. Now, for this case, we are asked what does the setup comparatively measure? What does it comparatively measure? Now, as we rightly established, that setup is used to measure transpiration pull or force of transpiration, and we rightly established that transpiration refers to the evaporation of water from the surface of leaves of plants. So the setup is used to measure the force of transpiration. Now, another thing to note that force of transpiration can be measured under various or different conditions. So you can measure under different conditions of the same plant using that setup, the transpiration pool under different conditions. And when you measure that using that setup, you can make your inference from the experiment. So option C says transpiration of a single shoot of a plant under different experimental conditions, and as we have said, you can use that setup to measure the transpiration pool under varying conditions. So option C is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 14. The respiratory organ of a cockroach is the A. Air sac, B. Trachea, C. Lung book, D. Lung. So we're looking at respiratory organs, various respiratory organs, and we're asked what is the respiratory organ of a cockroach. Now, a cockroach belongs to the class Insecta under the phylum Arthropoda, and in this class, within this class Insecta, their respiration takes place through a process or through a system known as the tracheal system. And in the tracheal system, what happens is that the tracheal system begins with small openings on the side of the body of the insect, and then opens into these small openings are known as spiracles. Now these spiracles open into trachea and then into smaller channels known as tracheoles. Now in most insects, the tracheoles lead to air sacs, and these air sacs can majorly be described as the sites or the major sites for respiration in the class Insecta or in insects in general. So now another important thing to notice is that the tracheal system is not linked to the circulatory system. So whenever they take in oxygen, what happens is that diffusion from the final tracheole to the individual cells occurs. This is the system that insects respire with, the tracheal system. So as you have rightly seen, the final respiratory organ or respiratory structure in insects, most insects, especially cockroaches, is the air sacs. So option A, which is air sac, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 15. The excretory product of some reptiles, birds, and insects is A. Urea, B. Urine, C. Ammonia, D. Uric acid. So, like this question may suggest, some reptiles, birds, and insects have a common excretory product. Now, urea and urine are more or less known with mammals. So mammals are known for excretion of urea and urine mostly. Urea is part of the component of urine. Now, ammonia is excreted by the flatworms mostly the flatworms. However, uric acid is excreted by birds, reptiles, and insects, irrespective of their various different excretory structures or excretory systems. They excrete a common excretory product, which is the uric acid. So this occurs due to the fact that in the excretory process, ammonia is always produced in almost every organism. Now, for birds, reptiles, and insects, what happens is that the ammonia is converted to uric acid, and the reason why it is not further converted to urea like in the mammals is because conversion of ammonia to uric acid is more energy intensive than conversion to urea. So that's why you have reptiles, birds, and insects producing uric acid as their waste product. So as we have rightly established, option D, which is uric acid, is the excretory product of some reptiles, birds, and insects, and is the answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 16. The part of the mammalian kidney that stores urine is the A. Capsule, B. Medulla, C. Pelvis, D. Bladder. So, looking at these various structures given by the options, 3 of them are components of the kidney and 1 of them isn't. And we're asked for the part that stores urine. Now, the capsule, as it relates to the kidney, the renal capsule, is a hard covering, a thin, hard covering that surrounds the kidney. Now, the medulla is the inner part of the kidney, and then the pelvis or the renal pelvis is where the ureter joins to the medulla. Now, these 3 parts which are contained in the kidney are not known for storage of urine. In fact, no part of the kidney is known for storage of urine. Urine is stored in mammals in the bladder, and the bladder is not part of the urine, but rather the bladder is not part of the kidney, but rather urine is carried out from the kidney via the ureter to the bladder, and the bladder is where urine is stored. So urine is stored in the bladder. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Biology Objective Past Question 17. The properties of endocrine system include the following except A. Secretion of hormones, B. Transportation by blood to target organs, C. Having specific effects, D. Release of secretion into ducts. Now, For the purpose of homeostasis, there are glands known as endocrine glands, or the endocrine system in general. Now, the endocrine system consists of glands that secrete chemical substances known as hormones into the bloodstream. Okay, so they secrete these chemicals into the bloodstream and are transported to target organs to perform specific functions. So let's look at each of the options in relation to these definition, or the items in this definition. Now, secretion of hormones, as we have stated in the definition, is one of the properties of the endocrine system. The endocrine system, or that consists of endocrine glands, secretes chemical substances which we call hormones. So secretion of hormones is part of the properties and is not the answer to this question. Now, you have transportation by blood to target organs, which we stated here. The secretions are made directly into the blood and then transported by the blood to target organs. So this is a property of endocrine system and is not the answer to this question. Now, hormones travel to target organs to perform specific functions, having specific effects. It is a property of the endocrine system and is not the answer to this question. Now, release of secretion into ducts is the correct answer to this question, as it is not a property of the endocrine system. Now, there are glands such as the salivary glands, which release their secretion into ducts, narrow tubes known as ducts. However, endocrine glands that secrete hormones do not release their secretion into ducts. They release them directly into the bloodstream, and then the blood carries them or transports them to target organs where they perform specific functions. The glands that release their secretion into ducts are known as the exocrine glands. So release of secretion into ducts is not a property of the endocrine system. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 18. The part of the central nervous system that controls unconscious actions in humans is the A. Cerebellum, B. Cerebrum, C. Spinal cord, D. Optic nerves. Now, the nervous system is made up of is classified into two parts: the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. Now, the central nervous system comprises of the brain and the spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system just comprises of the nerves. Now, the brain is divided into the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. But for the sake of this question, from the options we have two parts of the brain here, two major parts of the brain: the cerebellum, which is option A, and the cerebrum. Now, the cerebellum is responsible for coordinating muscle movements, and the cerebrum basically receives sensory information, processes it, and sends out necessary instructions. So you can say it coordinates the actions of the brain. It is also sometimes called the seat of intelligence. The seat of intelligence, as it has so much to do with receiving and processing various forms of information. Now, the spinal cord is responsible for involuntary reflex actions. And then option D, which is the optic nerve stated here, is just the nerves that connect or sends information from the brain to the eyes. So from what we have established here, option C, which is the spinal cord, regulates or is responsible for involuntary reflex actions. Those actions are sometimes known as unconscious actions, as they occur without human control. So option C, which is spinal cord, is responsible for unconscious actions. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 19. What happens when the ciliary muscles of the eye contract? The A. Lens becomes more concave. B. Lens becomes more convex. C. Lens gets a longer focal length. D. Suspensory ligament becomes tight. So we're looking at the function, or basically what this question is asking is the function of the ciliary muscles of the eye. Now, the ciliary muscles of the eye, is a ring of smooth muscles in the eye's middle layer, and with its contraction, what happens is that it controls accommodation by changing or altering the lens structure, of the lens. Now, when it contracts, it means that accommodation needs to take place. So when it contracts, what happens to the lens is that the lens becomes more concave. And lens becomes more concave is option A, which is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 20. So we have a diagram illustrating a part of a flower. So the function of the part labeled 1 is A. Receiving the pollen grain. B. Passage for the male gametes to the ovary. C. Germination of the pollen grain. D. Sites for double fertilization in the plant. So this part of the flower labeled 1 is known as the style, and this part labeled 2 is known as the ovary. So the function of the part labeled 1, which is style, is it serves as a passage for the pollen grains, which is the male gametes in flowering plants, So it serves as a passage for the pollen grains from the stigma to the ovary. So this part up here is known as the stigma, and it is the side that receives pollen grains, or the male gametes in flowering plants. So what happens is that when the pollen grains are received, they pass through the style to get to the ovary. So the style, which is labeled 1, connects the stigma to the ovary. Now option B says passage for the male gametes to the ovary. So we have seen that it serves as a passage for pollen grains, which is the male gametes, from the stigma where it is received to the ovary. So the correct answer is B, passage for the male gametes to the ovary. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 21. The part labeled 2 is the A. Unfused stigma, B. Fused style, C. Fused ovaries, D. Unfused anther. Now, from the diagram here, what we have is an illustration of a part of a flower. So we have a part of a flower here, and we have two parts, one labeled 1 and the other labeled 2. So this part labeled 1, the part labeled 1 is the style, and the part labeled 2 is the ovaries, or the fused ovaries in general. Now the style, which is labeled 1, connects this part, which is known as the stigma, to this part, which is labeled 2, the ovaries. So what happens is that during the process of pollination, the male gamete, which in this case is the pollen grains, are received here at the stigma, and then they pass through the style to the ovaries, the fused ovary, where fertilization takes place. So as we have established, the part labeled 2 is the fused ovaries. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 22. The reagents used in testing for carbon 4 oxide or carbon dioxide is A. Copper sulfate solution, B. Lime water, C. Hydrochloric acid, D. Sodium hydroxide solution. So in general, what we are asked for here is the test for carbon 4 oxide or CO2 or carbon dioxide. Now, the most known test for carbon 4 oxide is by bubbling through lime water. So if you have, say, a sample of a gas and you want to know whether it contains carbon dioxide, all you have to do is to bubble it through lime water. Now, if positive for carbon dioxide, what will happen is that the lime water will turn milky. Lime water will turn milky. So just for the purpose of clarity, here is the chemical reaction. You would have the carbon dioxide reacting with lime water. Lime water is calcium hydroxide aqueous solution. So when you react with this, what it will form is CaCO3, calcium carbonate, and water. So this calcium carbonate is what will give the milky color. So as we have rightly established, lime water is the best reagent used for testing carbon 4 oxide. Lime water is option B. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 23. Oxygen comes out of the stomata during photosynthesis through the process known as A. Diffusion, B. Transpiration pool, C. Osmosis, D. Active transport. Now, the stomata is basically just a pore or pores, because there are more than one, and they are found in the epidermis. They are found in the epidermis of leaves and stems, that is of plants, that controls the rate of gas exchange. So this is their major function, regulating the rate of gas exchange. Now, gas exchange in plants involves the diffusion of oxygen out of the plant and CO2 into the plant. So this is what happens in gas exchange in plants. Now diffusion is the movement of molecules or particles, which are usually liquid or gas, from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. So this means that you have buildup of oxygen, within the plant. So the concentration in the plant is higher, so it diffuses out, so comes out of the stomata. So it diffuses out of the plant via the stomata during photosynthesis, and then the plant also takes in CO2 that it requires into itself. So you can see that you have the movement of the oxygen molecules from the region of high concentration, where it is more within the plant, to a region of lower concentration, which is outside. So as we've rightly established, diffusion is the process by which oxygen comes out of the stomata during photosynthesis. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 24. The first stable product of photosynthesis is A. Starch, B. Fructose, C. Glucose, D. Sucrose. Now, what happens in the process of photosynthesis? In photosynthesis, it is a process in which green plants manufacture food utilizing the sun's energy through the pigment chlorophyll, and also utilizing carbon dioxide and water to produce high energy sugars, which is glucose. The first product is glucose, and oxygen. So this is what photosynthesis entails. Now, the summary of the reaction looks something like this. Like we said, it utilizes water and CO2. So water and 6 molecules of carbon dioxide in the presence of light energy from the sun, and using the pigment chlorophyll, as we have stated. So the product of the reaction is high energy sugar, which in this case is glucose, as you can see, chemical formula for glucose, and 6 molecules of oxygen. So this is the first stable product of photosynthesis, the high energy sugar glucose. So glucose here is option C. So option C is the answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 25. An example of a trace element is A. Potassium, B. Calcium, C. Magnesium, D. Copper. So trace elements are mineral elements. So trace elements are mineral elements, and are also known as micronutrients, and they are elements required by living organisms in minute amounts. Now, in living organisms, they usually serve as what they call cofactors for enzymes. So they are essential for enzymes to carry out their function. Now, examples of trace elements include copper, cobalt, zinc, molybdenum, etc. So among the options, we have mentioned copper. So copper is one of the popularly known trace elements. So copper is option D. Option D, copper is an example of a trace element. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 26. Which of the following statements about a mixture of protein digesting enzyme and starch solution will be correct? The protein digesting enzyme A has no effect on the starch solution, B leads to the production of amino acids, C leads to the production of glucose, D digests the starch. So we are asked what will happen if you have a protein digesting enzyme and a starch solution mixed together. Now, enzymes, of course, are biological catalysts that affect, usually they speed up the rate of biochemical reactions. So what will happen if you have an enzyme for protein mixed together with a starch solution? Now, one of the characteristics of enzymes is that enzymes are specific. So because enzymes are specific, amylase, for example, which is a starch digesting enzyme, amylase, which is a starch digesting enzyme, will only act on starch. And where you have, let's say, lipases, okay, which are lipid digesting enzymes, they will only act on lipids. So from the trend that we have established here, enzymes specific for one particular food class will only digest that food class. So if a protein digesting enzyme is put together with a starch solution, the protein digesting enzyme will have no effect on the starch solution. So option A, has no effect on the starch solution, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 27. A mutualism type of relationship is different from a parasitic relationship because in mutualism, A, both organisms involved benefit, B, none of the organisms benefit or harm each other, C, both organisms harm each other, D, only one of the organisms is harmed. So we are looking at two forms of relationship between organisms, mutualism and parasitism, or a parasitic relationship. Now the first one, mutualism, is an association between two unrelated organisms which is benefited or beneficial to both organisms. So for example, you have gut microorganisms in herbivores. Now what happens in this relationship is that the gut microorganisms help the herbivore. Examples of herbivores are, let's say, cattle, goats, etc. So the gut microorganisms help the herbivore to break down food, to break down the complex structures of the plants they eat, and in exchange, or how the herbivore benefits from that relationship is from the breakdown of its food by the gut microorganisms, and then the gut microorganism benefits from the relationship by the shelter and protection provided by the herbivore. So that is a mutualistic relationship. Now it's important to know that the gut microorganism does not harm the herbivore. So that is what makes it a mutualism or a mutualistic relationship. However, the other one, parasitism or a parasitic relationship, is an association. It's an association between two organisms in which one organism, which is the parasite, lives on another, which is the host, and derives or deriving benefit from it, that is the host, and causing harm to it. For example, you have, let's say, the tapeworm in man. So in a parasitic relationship, one organism known as the parasite lives on another organism which is known as the host and benefits from that organism, usually maybe deriving food or shelter from it, and in the process causing harm to the host, the organism which it lives on. So a mutualism is different from parasitism, because in mutualism the relationship is beneficial to both organisms. So both organisms benefit from the relationship. Meanwhile, in parasitism, one organism benefits at the detriment of the other organism. So option A, both organisms involved benefits, is why mutualism is different from parasitism. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Biology objective past question 28. So you have a table here displaying some organisms and their number in two different habitats. So you have those organisms and their population displayed in habitats W and Y. Now, what type of habitat is W from the table? A, rainforest; B, pond; C, desert; D, ocean. So from what we have here, in habitat W you have planktons 126, tilapia 23, water flea 10, frog 6. Now the common trend among these organisms is that they are all aquatic organisms. They are all aquatic organisms. Planktons are found in water, water fleas around water, tilapia in water, and frogs around water, as they are amphibians. So if they are all aquatic organisms, then the habitat W is an aquatic habitat, and all we have to do is to look for the most probable habitat amongst the options. Now the rainforest is not the answer, because you may not have tilapia within the rainforest, and the rainforest is not exactly a complete aquatic habitat. So A is not the answer. Now option B, pond, is the most likely and is the answer to this question, because in a pond you can find planktons, you can find water fleas around, you can find tilapia, and you can also find frogs. Now option C, desert, is definitely not the answer, and ocean is not the answer, because tilapia is a fresh water fish, and ocean is a saltwater body. So you can't find freshwater fish in saltwater bodies. Freshwater fish or organisms are always found in fresh water bodies. So pond contains, of course, fresh water, and ocean contains salt water. So ocean is not the answer. So the correct answer is B, pond, as you have rightly established. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 29. So we have a table showing some organisms, their number in two habitats, habitat W and habitat Y, habitat W and habitat Y. So the question asks is, which of the following statements about habitat W is correct? D dash. A, absence of lions and antelopes shows that the habitat is terrestrial. B, presence of tilapia and plankton shows that the habitat is not aquatic. C, type of organisms present indicates that the habitat is aquatic. D, absence of grasses indicates that the habitat is terrestrial. Now, we are asked to note habitat W, and from the population of the organisms given to us, we are to determine what type of habitat it is. So let's look at it. Now, option A, absence of lions and antelopes shows that the habitat is terrestrial. Now, it is true that yes, there are no lions and antelopes in the habitat. Now, but this doesn't indicate that the habitat is terrestrial, because if there are no antelopes and lions there, then the habitat is most likely an aquatic habitat due to the absence of terrestrial animals such as the lion and the antelope. So option A is not the answer to this question, as the statement is not correct. Now, option B, presence of tilapia and planktons show that the habitat is not aquatic. Now, similarly, if you have presence of tilapia and planktons, as we have here, planktons and tilapia, they are aquatic animals. And if you have aquatic animals in a habitat, it means that the habitat is an aquatic habitat. So this statement, presence of tilapia and plankton, shows that the habitat is not aquatic, is not the answer to this question, as it is not correct. Now, option C, type of organisms present indicates that the habitat is aquatic. Now let's look at the type of organisms present. You have planktons, you have water flea, you have tilapia, and you have frog. Now all these organisms are aquatic organisms. They are all aquatic organisms, and since they are all aquatic organisms, it is an indication that the habitat is an aquatic habitat, since all the organisms that we find in habitat W are aquatic organisms. So it's an indication that the habitat is an aquatic habitat. So option C, type of organisms present indicates that the habitat is aquatic, is correct and is the correct answer to this question. Now, option D, absence of grasses indicates that the habitat is terrestrial. Now, similarly, if there are no grasses there, it's not really an indication that the habitat is terrestrial, because if there are no grasses in a habitat, it means that the habitat is most likely an aquatic habitat and not terrestrial habitat. So option D is wrong. So as we have rightly established, option C is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 30. So we have this table showing some organisms and their number in two habitats, habitats W and habitat Y. Now the question is, the number of lions and antelopes in habitat Y shows that the lion A is the prey while the antelope is the predator, B is the predator while the antelope is the prey, C and the antelope are prey to each other. And the antelopes are predators. Now let's take a look at the number of lions and antelopes in both or in the habitat Y. Now the antelope is 51 in number and the lions are 6 in number. Now for the predator relationship, for the purpose of ecological balance, the preys are usually more than the predators. Now this is, like I said, for the sake of ecological balance, because if you do not have the preys more than the predators, if you have more predators than preys, the predators will outnumber the preys, and eventually those preys will no longer exist in that particular habitat. So for the purpose of ecological balance, you usually have more preys than predators. And from what we have in this habitat, why the antelopes are significantly more in number when compared to the lions, as you have 51 antelopes and you have 6 lions. So based on this relationship, since we've said the preys are usually more than the predators and we have the antelope more than the lions, it's an indication that the lion is the predator because it's of its lesser number, and the antelope is the prey due to its larger number. So option B, the lion is the predator while the antelope is the prey, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 biology objective past question 31. Now you have a diagram which is an illustration of an ecological instrument, and we're to use it to answer this question 31 and 32. Now the question is, a disadvantage of the abiotic factor measured by the instrument is that it A is an agent of pollination, B is necessary for germination, C leads to flooding when in excess, D is used for irrigation. Now the first thing we need to do is to identify this ecological instrument, and this ecological instrument is a rain gauge. Now after identifying what the ecological instrument is, we need to next identify the abiotic factor it measures, and the abiotic factor measured by the rain gauge is rainfall. And of course, abiotic factor, just for clarity, abiotic factors refer to those non-living factors that affect an ecological system. So rainfall, of course, is not a living factor, so it is abiotic. Now the disadvantage of this abiotic factor, rainfall, is that option C says leads to flooding when in excess, and of course when rain falls in excess, it leads to flooding. Excess of rainfall leads to flooding. So that is the disadvantage of this abiotic factor measured by this instrument, which we identified as the rain gauge. So option C, leads to flooding when in excess, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 biology objective past question 32. So you have an illustration of an ecological instrument. So when the instrument is in use, it is usually A, placed slightly above soil level, B, placed on a table, C, suspended in air, D, suspended on moving water. So this instrument, this ecological instrument, is a rain gauge, and we're asked how it is used. So it is used in measuring the abiotic factor rainfall. Now when it is in use, it is usually placed slightly, so you have it placed this way, you have it embedded or placed, buried slightly in the ground. Okay, so this part here is the soil, or the dirt is buried in, and then you have it something like this. So it is slightly placed beneath soil level, and slightly, or part of it, is above soil level. So this part of it is below the soil, and this part of it is slightly above soil level. So this is how it is placed when in use. So option A says placed slightly above soil level, and as we have illustrated here, that is how the instrument is placed when it is in use. So option A, placed slightly above soil level, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 33. Soil with the finest texture is A. Silt, B. Clay, C. Sand, D. Gravel. So we have various types of soil here. The major soil types are 3 in number. We have sand, clay, and loam. This is also what is called sandy soil. This is also clay soil and loamy soil. So these are the 3 major soil types. But here we are given a list containing just 2 of the 3 major soil types, and we are asked for the one with the finest texture. So let's look at how we can get the finest texture. So usually the one with the finest texture has the smallest particle sizes. So in order to pick out the one with the smallest particle size and then the finest texture, let's take a look at each of the particle sizes for each of the options. So for silt, which is option A, it has particle size of between 0.002 to 0.05 millimeter in diameter. So this is the size range for the particles. So for clay, you have particle sizes less than 0.002 millimeter in diameter. So C, which is sand, has a range from between 0.05 to 2.0 millimeters. And then gravel has particle size between 4 millimeter to 64 millimeter for very coarse gravel. So from this we see that option B, which is clay, has the smallest particle size of below 0.002 millimeter, and this means that it has the finest texture. So option B, clay, is the soil with the finest texture. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 34. The position occupied by an organism in a food chain is the A. Energy level, B. Niche, C. Trophic level, D. Biomass. Now, a food chain is a diagrammatic representation, or basically a pictorial representation that shows the transfer of energy and nutrients, that is food, from organism to organism in a feeding pathway. So this is an example of a food chain. You have something like this. You can have grass, then zebra, and then lion. So this feeding pathway shows that the zebra eats grass, so therefore nutrients and energy is transferred from the grass to the zebra when it eats it, and then the lion eats the zebra, and then the energy or nutrients are transferred from the zebra to the lion. So that feeding pathway that shows the transfer of energy or nutrients from one organism to another is what is known as a food chain. And as you can see in the food chain, you have levels, you have positions occupied by various organisms. Now each position or each step in the food chain is known as a trophic level. A trophic level. So this is one trophic level, this is another trophic level, and this is another trophic level. So option C says trophic level, and that is the position occupied by an organism in a food chain. So option C, trophic level, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 35. The depletion of the ozone layer will result in the Earth's surface receiving more A. Gamma rays, B. Infrared rays, C. Ultraviolet rays, D. X rays. Now, the ozone layer is a protective layer found in the stratosphere, and the stratosphere is the second layer of the Earth's atmosphere. So the stratosphere is where the ozone layer is found. Now, the ozone layer protects the Earth. It serves like a protective covering of the Earth from ultraviolet rays from the sun. So the sun emits ultraviolet rays or UV rays. The sun emits ultraviolet rays or UV rays, and these rays, when they come in contact with human skin or basically human life or other organisms on the Earth, they can cause one form of damage or the other. So the ozone layer is there to protect from these UV rays, these ultraviolet rays from the sun. And then this means that if the ozone layer should deplete, it will result in the Earth's surface receiving more of these UV rays from the sun. So the UV rays or the ultraviolet rays is option C. So option C, ultraviolet rays, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 36. So we have a list of insects here: cotton stainer, honeybee, termite, and weevil, and we have to use them to answer question 36 and 37. Now, 36. The insects whose activities are both beneficial and harmful to humans are A. 1 and 2, B. 2 and 3, C. 2 and 4, D. 3 and 4. So let's take a look at each of the insects. Now, cotton stainer is not known to have any benefit to humans. So number 2, honeybee produces honey, and honey, of course, is used as food and also serves as medicine, so for medicinal purpose for man. So it is beneficial to man. However, it is also harmful in the sense that, of course, they are capable of stinging and also as pests. The termite also has benefits as it improves soil aeration for man's agricultural activities, and in some places termites are used as food. They are eaten, so it is both beneficial and harmful because they are plant pests. And then weevil is not known to have any benefits, so it is only harmful as a storage pest for the crops harvested by man. So from what we have seen here, the honeybee and the termites have both benefits and also are harmful to humans. So 2 and 3 is option B, which is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 37. So we have a list of insects that were to use to answer this question. So we have cotton stainer, honeybee, termite, weevil. The question is, which of these insects destroys grains? So A, 1, cotton stainer, B, 2, honeybee, C, 3, termite, D, 4, weevil. Now, among these 4 insects, the one known to destroy grains is the weevil. Now, the weevil attacks stored crops, and in this case, it is seeds of crops, that is the grain. And examples of these crops attacked by weevils include rice, maize, and wheat. So the weevil specifically is known for destroying grain, and another feature of the weevil is that it lives in and destroys the crop, in this case grain, at the same time. So as we've established, option D, which is weevil, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 38. Conservation of natural resources does not A. Maintain a balanced ecosystem, B. Preserve the beauty of nature, C. Attract tourists, D. Threaten the survival of species. So here we are asked what conservation of natural resources does not do. So let's first take a look at the definition of conservation of natural resources. Now, conservation of natural resources is a process of rational use and skillful management and preservation of the natural environment and its resources. So you can see that in conservation of natural resources, what you are trying to do is to protect the environment and all the resources contained in the environment. So maintain a balanced ecosystem, which is option A. Yes, conservation of natural resources maintains a balanced ecosystem. Option B. Preserve the beauty of nature. Yes, conservation of natural resources serves to preserve the beauty of nature. Conservation of natural resources also attracts tourists, because when you maintain the ecosystem and preserve nature's beauty, tourists will definitely be attracted. Now, what conservation of natural resources does not do is threaten the survival of species. Instead, conservation of natural resources is aimed at protection of species. So the species found in the environment are also preserved and protected. So conservation of natural resources does not threaten the survival of species. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 39. A company was prohibited from producing bags made from natural leopard skin. This is an attempt to conserve A. Land, B. Water, C. Wildlife, D. Minerals. So, the company was prohibited from production of bags made from natural leopard skin. Now, natural leopard skin is of course obtained from poaching of leopards. Poaching of course means illegal hunting and killing of leopards. So in order to get natural leopard skin, it involves poaching of leopards. Now, if this is prohibited, if the company is prohibited from producing these bags, that means it will have to also stop poaching of leopards. Now, leopards are considered part of wild life. So this act, this entire prohibition of this company from making these bags will help to conserve the life of leopards, which is part of wildlife. So option C, wildlife, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 40. Which of the following substances is not a conservable natural resource? A. Mineral, B. Air, C. Soil, D. Water. So the concept here is conservable natural resource, and natural resources are basically resources obtained from the natural environment. So those resources that are obtained from the natural environment and are also sometimes part of the natural environment are known as natural resources. Now, conservable, to conserve a natural resource means to skillfully manage and rationally use. To skillfully manage and rationally use a resource such that it is preserved. So that's what it means to conserve a natural resource. Now, among these, mineral resources such as gold, crude oil, etc. can be skillfully managed and rationally used such that they are preserved. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 41. A child that can receive blood donation from anybody belongs to the blood group A, O, B, A, C, B, D, AB. So you have 4 blood groups here amongst the options, and you are asked for the blood group that can receive blood donation from anybody. if you have to rephrase this question, you can ask, what blood group can receive blood from any blood group? So this category is known as the universal recipient. Universal blood recipient. So let's look at which of the options fits into that description. Now, the blood group O is known as the universal donor. That means they can donate blood to any of the blood groups, but can only receive from the same blood group O. However, they can donate from anybody. That means any of the blood groups can receive blood from blood group O. Now, option B, which is A, the blood group A can only donate to and receive blood from blood group A. Likewise, blood group B can only donate to and receive from B, blood group B. Now, the blood group AB can only donate to AB, but can receive from any blood group, from any of the blood groups. So blood group AB can receive blood donation from any of the blood groups, from A, from O, from B. So blood group AB is known as the universal recipient, which is the correct answer to this question, option D, A, B. So a child that can receive blood donation from anybody belongs to the blood group A, B. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 42. Variation which exhibits a wide range from one extreme to the other is A. Phenotypic variation, B. Discontinuous variation, C. Continuous variation, D. Genotypic variation. So we're asked for the variation which exhibits a wide range from one extreme to another. Okay, a wide range from one extreme to another. That means you can rank it from one extreme, exhibiting a range between that extreme to the other extreme. So what do you call this type of variation? Now, option A, which is phenotypic variation, it describes variation in physical appearance. Variation in physical appearance, e.g. variation in height, variation in skin color, etc. Now, option B, which is discontinuous variation, describes features which shows no intermediate. Okay, no intermediate. So you either belong to one extreme or the other extreme. An example of this is tongue rolling ability, blood group, etc. Now, option C is continuous variation. Now, in continuous variation, it describes features that vary gradually from one extreme to another. That means you can rank it from one extreme and then progressively, from one extreme to the other. An example of such features includes height, weight, skin color, etc. Option D, genotypic variation, refers to variation as a result of difference in genes. And examples, you have eye color, hair color, etc. So The one which exhibits a wide range, which you can rank from one extreme to another, is option C, continuous variation. As we stated in its definition, features which vary gradually from one extreme to another. So let's take for example height. So in height now, if you have, let's say, 20 people in a room, you can rank those 20 people from the tallest to the shortest. Likewise, weight, you can rank from the heaviest to the lightest. Okay, so you can see that those features are continuous in nature. You can rank them from one extreme to the other. There are in-betweens in continuous variation, and that's why option C, continuous variation, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 43. Measurements of height and weight of students in a class show A. Discontinuous variation, B. Continuous variation, C. Shortness is more prevalent, D. Fatness is less prevalent. So this question is asking height and weight. What category do height and weight, what category of variation does height and weight fall under? So this is the question. Now let's look at discontinuous variation. Now in discontinuous variation, you have features with no intermediate, e.g., for example, you have blood group. Now, in blood group, it is either you are A or O or AB or blood group B. There is no intermediate. You can't say you are slightly blood group A and slightly blood group O. So you are either A or O. So you can see that feature, that variation, discontinuous variation, has no intermediate, and you can't rank from one extreme to the other extreme. Now option B says continuous variation, and continuous variation encapsulates those features which can be arranged progressively from one extreme to the other. And examples under here, you have your height and weight. Now you can rank people. If you have a population or you have a number of people in a specific place, let's say in a classroom you have 20 students in a classroom, you can rank them progressively from the tallest to the shortest. Okay, you can rank from the tallest to the shortest. Likewise in weight, you can rank from the heaviest to the lightest. So you can see that you can rank this from one extreme to the other, so it is continuous variation. Now C says shortness is more prevalent, which in this context makes no sense. Okay, so D says fatness is less prevalent, also doesn't make any sense as it regards to this context. So as we have established, continuous variation encapsulates measurements of height and weight, as height and weight are features that can be arranged from one extreme to another progressively. So option B, continuous variation, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 44. Which of the following statements about chromosomes is correct? A. All the chromosomes of a species are the same in shape. B. The number present in a species is constant. C. They are neatly arranged in the cytoplasm. D. They bear ribosomes on their outer membranes. So the conversation here is about chromosomes. What are chromosomes in the first place? Now, chromosomes are thread-like structures located within the nucleus of both plant and animal cells. Now, the chromosomes contain DNA, which are responsible for gene transmission of genes. So you can say that chromosomes are like vehicles that contain the material, genetic material, DNA. So that contain the material responsible for transmission of genes and traits. Now, when looking at the characteristics of chromosomes, let's look at what is correct about the characteristics of chromosomes. Now, option A says all the chromosomes of a species are the same in shape. Now, this statement is false. Every chromosome has, or chromosomes that of the same species are likely to have different shape. In fact, chromosomes that contain genes for different traits are usually different in terms of shape and structure. So option A is incorrect. Now, option B says the number present in a species is constant. Now, this is actually correct. The number of chromosomes in a particular species is constant, always constant, and peculiar for that species. So, for example, in humans, you have 46 chromosomes. In dogs, you have 78 chromosomes. In lions, you have 38 chromosomes. So that number of chromosomes is specific for that particular species, and if there is any alteration in the number, it brings about abnormality in one trait or the other. So the number of chromosomes in a species is always constant. So option C says neatly arranged in the cytoplasm, which is also incorrect, and D says this is incorrect because, of course, we have established the fact that the chromosomes are contained within the nucleus and not the cytoplasm. And option D says they bear ribosomes on their outer membranes. This is also incorrect. So as we have rightly established, the number present in a species is constant is the correct answer to this question about chromosomes. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 45. Which of the following diseases can be inherited? A. Pneumonia. B. Whooping cough. C. Sickle cell anemia. D. Malaria. So we are asked which disease can be inherited. In other words, which of the diseases mentioned in the options is hereditary. So when a disease is hereditary, that means the disease is transmitted with genes from parents to offspring. So that is a hereditary disease. Now let's look at which of the diseases is hereditary. Now, pneumonia is an airborne respiratory disease. That means it is transmitted via droplets, air droplets, such as from cough or sneezing. So that is how pneumonia is transmitted. Now option B is whooping cough. Now whooping cough is also an airborne respiratory disease and also transmitted from air or via air droplets. Air droplets, that is cough and sneezing. And then option C, which is sickle cell anemia, is caused by a gene mutation in the gene responsible for hemoglobin formation. Now, hemoglobin is a protein that is found in red blood cells. Now, that protein is what gives red blood cells their characteristic red color and also what enables red blood cells to carry iron, okay, to transport iron and oxygen, transport oxygen especially, okay, transport oxygen especially. So option D is malaria. Now I will also add to sickle cell anemia that it is transmitted, it is a hereditary trait that is transmitted from parents to offspring as it is present in the gene. Now option D says malaria. Now malaria is spread or transferred by the female Anopheles mosquito. Female Anopheles mosquito. Now you can see that option A, B and D are communicable diseases, but option C, sickle cell anemia, is a genetic abnormality, a genetic disease that is transmitted from parents to offspring because it is present in the genes. So it is a hereditary trait, so it can be inherited. So option C, sickle cell anemia, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 46. So you have an illustration here of a cross between two plants, A and B, of the same species. So let's use it to answer this question. Now the question is, if the F1 generation are plants with high yield and resistance, the genotype of the F1 generation plants will be A. So you have this. So the Y, capital Y, represents high yield and the capital R represents high resistance. So A, you have high yield, homozygous high yield and homozygous high resistance. B, you have heterozygous high yield, heterozygous high resistance. C, you have homozygous low resistance and heterozygous high resistance. And then D, you have homozygous low resistance, homozygous low yield. So in order to get the probable genetic cross or the genetic makeup of the F1 generation, you use what is known as the Punnett square. The Punnett square or Punnett table. Now this is what it would look like. So you would have this, you will have this, you have this, and then you have this, okay? And then on this column, on this other side, you have this, you have this is small y, this will have capital Y, and then so this is what the Punnett table will look like, an illustration of what the Punnett table will look like. Okay, so if you begin to do the genetic cross, if you start the genetic cross here, you will have this. On the next one, you will have capital Y, small y, capital R, capital R. Here we have capital Y, capital Y, capital R, small r, capital Y, small y, capital R, small r. On the next one, you have capital Y, small y, capital R twice. You have small y, capital R, capital R. Next you have capital Y, capital R, small r. Small y, capital R, small r. Here you have capital Y, capital Y, capital R, small r. Here you have capital Y, small y, capital R, small r, y, capital, r, small, capital Y, small r, small r. And lastly here you have capital Y, capital R, small y, capital R, small r. Here you have capital Y, small r, and here you have small y, small r. So it asks which of them will have high yield resistance, high yield and high resistance. Now the one that is definitely sure to have a high yield and resistance will be this, have this genotype, as it is homozygous high yield, homozygous high resistance. So it is a perfect plant for high yield and high resistance. So the correct answer is A, capital Y, capital R, capital R. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 47. So you have this diagram, which is an illustration of a cross between plants. And now the question is, the process that gave rise to the F1 generation is A, self-fertilization, B, cross-fertilization, C, outbreeding, D, test cross. Now option A, which is self-fertilization, means the fusion of two gametes from one individual or one organisms, such as what is seen in self-pollination. Now option B is cross-fertilization, and it is fertilization involving gametes, fusion of gametes from two different organisms. Option C, which is outbreeding, refers to breeding between individuals from different populations, species, or subspecies. And option D, which is test cross, involves breeding of an individual with a phenotypically recessive individual to determine the zygosity of the former of this first individual, to determine whether it is homozygous or heterozygous. So from these definitions we have given, what gave rise to this generation, this F1 generation here, is the process of cross-fertilization, because you can see two different organisms, organism A individual or organism B, and the gametes from both of them were fused, and you have this F1 generation, which consists of genes from two different organisms. So the process that gave rise to these two, or the F1 generation, is cross-fertilization, which is option B. Option B is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering Waec 2020 Biology Objective Past Question 48. Replication of DNA molecules is catalyzed by an enzyme called A, polymerase, B, thylene, C, pepsin, D, amylase. So let's take a look at what each of the options mean. Look at the definitions of each of the options and see which one best suits this description provided in the question. Now option A, which is polymerase, refers to enzymes that catalyze the replication of DNA or RNA using an existing strand of DNA as template. So that is polymerase. Now option B, which is ptyalin, refers to a form of amylase found in saliva that breaks down starch into maltose and dextrin. Now option C, which is pepsin, refers to an enzyme that breaks down proteins into amino acids. And lastly, option D, amylase, refers to any class of digestive enzymes that breaks down large complex carbohydrates such as starch into simpler sugars, e.g. glucose. So now that we've seen what all the enzymes, the functions of all the enzymes, you agree with me that option A, as we have rightly established, polymerase, is the enzyme that catalyzes DNA replication from an existing strand of DNA as template. So option A, polymerase, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Who proposed the theory of evolution by natural selection? A. Darwin, B. Lamarck, C. Aristotle, D. Linnaeus. So the theory of evolution by natural selection is also known as, is the theory that is often referred to as survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest. Now this theory proposes that all living organisms are always in a struggle to survive. Now the individuals within a species with more favorable traits in terms of variation are more likely to survive than others. So this is what the theory basically in summary is all about. Now it was proposed by Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin is credited with proposing the theory of evolution by natural selection, and Darwin is option A. So option A, Darwin or Charles Darwin, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Reasons why termites swarm at night. A. Light is not necessary for swarming. B. They avoid day flying birds. C. Light destroys their wings. D. They can only see in the dark. So termite swarming is also known as nuptial flight in termites, and basically it is a reproductive behavior. Seen in termites when they want to start new colonies. So they pair up a male and a female and then engage in what is known as nuptial flight or swarming in order to start new colonies. So the reason amongst the options that best explains why termites swarm at night is option B. They avoid day-flying birds. Now, day-flying birds such as the stork bird feeds on termites. Now, it doesn't feed on termites within their habitat. It waits for when the termites are in flight. So when they are in flight, that is when the stork bird gets the opportunity to feast on these termites. However, the termites may prefer to swarm at night so as to prevent encounters with these stork birds. So amongst the options, option B, which is they avoid day-flying birds, is the best reason why termites may choose to swarm at night. Thank you, and please subscribe for more videos and for more past questions and answers.